How's it going, guys? Dustin Daily Grind Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be building a few slips directly from the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. And before we get into the video, though, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button while we're at it, because it really does help us out. We would appreciate it. And now I am going to pull up what you guys can see. The Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, we are currently set to PrizePicks. We have many different DFS apps to go ahead and build these slips from. By comparing sportsbooks lines and odds directly back to PrizePicks, we are able to find the best value on the board at that current time as props pop up on PrizePicks, as they pop up on Underdog, as odds get thrown onto the sportsbooks, they put their odds up. We are able to see in real time with one refresh, or even we have email notifications on the website that can get emailed to you as a good play hits the board. Insane. Whenever you're trying to beat the bumps on apps like PrizePicks, Underdog, etc., this is the key to be quick and efficient when getting these plays or seeing them pop up onto the board. For instance, if a minus 190 play pops up on the board, if it's a minus 190 on all the sports books and PrizePicks adds it to the board, right? Or if PrizePicks already had it, then the sports books come out with odds, vice versa. You have, 30 seconds, a minute to maybe get that play in before PrizePicks removes it or bumps it. The only way you're going to be able to do that, because you're not scanning the PrizePicks board and watching that prop come up or knowing when they're going to do it. Only way you're going to be able to beat the bumps is by refreshing or getting that email notification that, boom, this prop hit the board, go, 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 get it in, right? That's why this tool is so valuable. It does all the math on the back end to find these fair odds percentage, these odds percent to hit, given the overs and unders on the sports books, what those odds are at, and able for us to find these heavily juiced plays on the sports books. But let's go ahead and start building out. Right off the rip, we have Miles Bridges on PrizePicks under fantasy score. Miles Bridges under 35 fantasy score against Toronto, right? So we have two other sports books that we're comparing to, right? We know that sports books don't have fantasy score markets, but if they were to have a fantasy score market, they would have this much lower at right around 33, let's say average, or 33.5. So off by a few fantasy score in comparison to PrizePicks at 35. So PrizePicks seems to be too high when comparing to two other data points. So let's go ahead and take the under there. Aaron Ekbald, under 2.5 shots on goal. Really, this looks like it's being weighed by FanDuel. Or sorry, I said FanDuel, but that's Fliff. Being weighed by Fliff. So really, this isn't as good of a play as what we're seeing here. Might go ahead and skip it for now, as it's just being so heavily weighed, minus 180. All these other books seem to be more in line. Oftentimes we see Fliff can be off. So got to use a little bit of your brain here to see this. And see that this really isn't like maybe average odds of minus 135, minus 130. Yeah, probably like minus 135. So let's go ahead and skip that for now. But we have Isaiah Stewart. No, we don't. It looks like it's been bumped. So let's just keep on coming down. We have JockMKT under 32 fantasy score. So even though we are in the same game here with Miles Bridges, I am still going to go ahead and play this under of JockMKT at 32.5 fantasy score. Not playing the same position, forward and center. I'm okay with go ahead getting that in. Mikal Bridges under 40 fantasy score. It looks like three other books have him lower here. Looks like DraftKings coming in the lowest at 37.8. So if we click the little hyperlink here, it'll take us to the fantasy score page. We could see Mikal Bridges off by about 1.4 fantasy score on average when comparing all of those books. So I'm going to go ahead and add in Mikal Bridges. So a lot of fantasy scores as of right now up on the optimizer. And we find those fantasy scores by taking the even lines across those sports books that for the stats or projections that make up NBA fantasy score here on PrizePicks. They would have to have those stats or projections in order to be able to make up this fantasy score. So we got that in. Now, I'm not going to take the over and under on two separate guys in the same game. So I'm going to keep on passing Claxton and Hayward. We have Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 made 3-pointers. Let's go ahead and get that in, and we'll talk about why that is a good play. Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 made 3-pointers. Remember, we are building out a 5-man flex here on PrizePicks, so we're looking for average fair odds percentage above 54.3%. So given that we have a 55.14, we have Jakob Poeltl at 54.48. We can still, and even Bridges at 54.4. We can come down a little bit in order to still, and if we get these plays in, we can still have a fair odds percentage, average fair odds percentage on each individual leg above that 54.3%. So we are good to take Michael Porter Jr. He's juiced on the sports books at average odds of -139. And then Blake Group, we have over 1.5 made field goals, average odds of right around this -140 line as well. So we'll take that in the Saints game for the Saints kicker. So a little bit of NFL action. Blake Group over 1.5 made field goals. So that is going to be the first slip we build out here on PrizePicks, where we have some fantasy scores and some juiced props on the sports books. Remember, we're looking for these heavily juiced plays and playing them on a set payout platform at a better number than what you're getting it on at the sports books. As of right now, doesn't look like much on Underdog. ParlayPlay, there might be some value, but I want to talk about Betr. Now, we don't have a actual website presence for Betr. If you guys don't know, this is the app that Jake Paul is either part owner of, I believe. But we've just recently added it to the optimizer. So if you have access to Betr, highly suggest downloading it. As you guys can see, decent amount of value, and they are very slow to adjust when it comes to props that are heavily juiced or injury news, etc. So we can go ahead and get some good value via that way on Betr. If you don't have Betr, download it with code DGF. You'll get 100% deposit match up to $100, and you'll be able to take advantage of this value. So what we're going to do is take straight from the top here. Isaiah Pacheco. For the sake of just talking about it, I'm not going to build it on my phone, but if you guys have Betr, please do build it out right now as we're going through this. Isaiah Pacheco, under 67.5 rushing yards. Look, it's a 7-yard discrepancy when comparing to the sportsbook bet online that we do have a line for. So I'm going to go ahead and trust the sportsbook before I trust Betr here with this line. I am going to take the under and the 7-yard discrepancy here on Betr. Sidney Crosby to not score a goal, right? We have to have on the sports books an over and under in order for us to calculate this goal score. So Pinnacle, ESPN Bet, and Fliff all have this heavily favored to go under 0.5 goals for Sidney Crosby. Add that in. And before we move further, I want to mention the best play or the best slip type on Betr is going to be a 5-pick non-insured slip, which they don't have insured slip types. So it is the only slip type, a 5-pick for 20x your money here on Betr. Fred VanVleet, over 2.5 made field goals. Look, he's heavily juiced. Average odds of -148 for him to go over 2.5 made 3-point attempts. Keaton Mitchell, our fourth play in this, under 9.5 rush attempts. He's set to 8.5 on multiple books. In the couple books, he's set to 9.5. Looks like we have some juice on the under. So let's go ahead and take him under 9.5 rush attempts. Khalil Shakir to round out this slip, over 2.5 receptions. Very heavily juiced on multiple books to go over. Looks like Pinnacle's coming in the lowest at -127, but multiple books above -150, -160. So still heavily juiced to go over this 2.5 number. So that's 5 plays, all above 55%, which is what we're looking for, average fair odds percentage. So if they're all above this, that's an insane play and an insane edge when playing this on Betr in a 5-man slip. So we just built out a Betr picks slip as well. So we have a PrizePicks, we have a Betr slip. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything here on Fliff. So nothing crazy that's jumping off the page at me right now. I'm going to go ahead and cycle back through just to Underdog real quick. Okay, so we have a PrizePicks slip. We have a Betr slip that we've built out. Some NBA, some NFL. Jason Myers actually popped up here on PrizePicks if you guys needed a replacement for anything or you want to go ahead and get this in just below that 54.3. But when you get him in with these higher percent plays, that are up here on the board, you are good to go because that fair odds percentage is going to be above what we're needing, that 54.3. So really clutch to know that whenever trying to build out slips and get some plays in that are higher percent with some lower percentage plays, if you're not going to be able to get them all above that percentage. But that's going to be it. If you guys want access to the optimizer, linked in the description, you guys can get access to that. You can also get access to the correlation tool, which has been crushing. I know CSGO has had an amazing last few days. So if you guys aren't checking out the CSGO correlated slips, highly suggest it. That's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one, and let's cash. Have a great weekend.